read on this computer. Kia ora koutou. Thanks for joining us. We are here with another video, Stories from the Frontline, and today we've got the lovely Marie Willman, who's also known as Maz, joining us. Marie is a project manager with Rubix, and she's going to come and share a little bit of kōrero about how she got into construction, what path she took, what she loves about her job, what her job is, and all that sort of cool stuff. So welcome, Marie.
Thank you.
Awesome. So why don't you start by just telling us a little bit about your role and you, and yeah.
Yep. So I'm a client-side project manager at Rubix. We're basically a project management consultancy with national offices across New Zealand. We basically work on behalf of the client in construction projects, from base builds in malls to big commercial projects such as the museum, for example. I have had 6 years in the construction industry. I kind of started in administration, moved to coordination, kind of was on the contractor side on site, but now I'm based on obviously the client side in the office. I go to site occasionally, but I kind of fell into it rather than studying specifically for it. But yeah, I am currently the project manager on the Shands Road fit out, which is for the museum, and just a Merivale Mall base builds, which are basically the base build of a building, and then a tenant comes in and fits it out how they wish to fit it out. And yeah, that's my role really.
Fantastic. So I think a little bit about what you wanted to share with the sector and anyone thinking about getting into construction was a little bit about your journey. You touched on it just before, but can you just expand a little bit on, how you got into construction and what sort of path you took? Because sometimes people think that there's only one path to things.
Yes.
So let's have a bit of a chat about that.
Cool. So I started as a construction administrator at a big retirement village operator. And I basically did things like uploading architectural drawings. And at that point, I had no idea what I was looking at. That was really cool. And it got me kind of into it. And it was it was quite complex in terms that they were the operator and the builder. So I went to site occasionally and we had site visits. So that kind of eased me in. And then I moved on to a project coordinator role with their biggest competitor, but I was based actually on site. So we had a little site shed. It was very cold, but it was very cool. And I was surrounded by all the trades and kind of boots on the ground. I understood what my role in construction admin at that time did to help, and how those drawings, I guess, transpired into a reality. And then I thought, oh, maybe I should diversify into kind of engineering, which was a bit of a leap, but I saw the consultants come on site, inspect everything they needed to inspect pretty much. And I thought, I kind of want to understand a bit more about that. So I was a project coordinator for a multidisciplinary engineering consultancy. And I was the project coordinator on Metro Sports, which was nice and complex. And there were lots of technical conversations, which I honestly had no idea what they were talking about. But even being exposed to those kind of conversations led me to ask the right questions, led me to have the right leaders that kind of grew me. And then I got an offer from a PM consultancy, which I had a little bit to do with an engineer to contract engineers rep kind of work with Kai and Aura at Oricon. But I then moved to this PM consultancy. It was a promotion ultimately as a project manager, and I worked on a retirement village again. So that was a nice full circle. It was cool to put all of those skills into practice and actually build a retirement village. And then obviously Rubix offered me a job in a very similar role, and I really enjoy it here. So I think I now have a real appreciation for administration, quality management, all of that kind of stuff. I understand how everybody's tiny role plays, or big role, however big the role is, it's so important to the delivery of a successful project. So yeah, it was unconventional, but it's a cool way to get into it. And I never thought I'd be, project managing anything, let alone be in construction. So it's cool. Yeah,
that's so cool. What do you love? Obviously you're passionate about what you do, so what are your favorite things about what you do? What do you see now that you hadn't imagined?
I think I get to come into contact with so many different people, like consultants who are really highly intelligent as in engineers. The client can vary from the museum to developers to people actually just building their own residential houses, and then they have a job in wherever they work. I just deal with people from all streams of life, and I think that's super valuable. It's really good to be able to adapt yourself to an older person in the room or a younger person in the room. That's very valuable. And I also think the start of a project is a bare piece of land often. I mean, sometimes it's demolishing something that's there, but if we say everything's a new build, it's a bare piece of land, and you get to kind of put your stamp on rebuilding or building a city. And I'm like, that's going to be there for years to come. I mean, maybe not forever, but it's nice to have a part to play and be key in instrumenting that kind of project, or any project. I just think it's really cool to have a tangible outlook on that.
Yeah, and you'll be able to drive past things and goes, hey, I
Yeah.
project managed that. Yeah, how cool is
Cool.
that, right? And just finishing up, thinking about, what would you like to see for the future of women in construction? Because obviously we're still a little bit of a minority, and we're one of the things of NAWIC, and a lot of the women that belong to NAWIC is about how do we increase that as a really viable option. So what would you like to see for women in construction across the board?
I guess just like an overarching confidence in that if there's more people that talk about it, about their different experiences that come into it, and NAWIC exists and similar organizations to NAWIC exist, and we kind of all come together to show that we want more juniors in the industry, people coming through, because they're going to ultimately be the seniors at the end of the day. And I think having women in leadership is also very important. I mean, it's not the most important, but if people like me even can see people in a CEO position of a construction company or something, that would really inspire us to continue to get into it. And I think giving people the confidence, no matter how old they are, whatever women are out there that want to get into construction, like to have the confidence that it is kind of daunting, but it's I've grown heaps through doing it, and I think it's just really great fun. Like, it's often really great fun and tangible and great, and I just want to kind of crush the stigma around there's an automatic lack of trust, I think, because there's this notion that potentially we don't really know that much about construction. But I do think to grow that trust, we've just got to continue to deliver the job well, show that we're skillful, have like great conviction, and just prove that whatever role we're in within construction, we are just as integral to the delivery and the success of that project, and ultimately keeping everybody happy at the same time. So I think women bring something very different to a group or a culture, and I think that's needed within construction.
Man, that's so articulately put. I love it. And that's exactly what we believe as NAWIC, that we need everybody. We need a diverse workforce, and that includes cultural, it includes gender, it includes age range, it includes neurodiversity, it includes so many things in that diversity conversation. And I love how you articulated that, Maz. I couldn't put it any better myself, is that I really do believe that women bring something extra to the workforce. And if we've got both, playing their part in their lanes, doing their thing, then how powerful are we as a team, as a workplace and as a workforce? So fantastic stuff that you're doing there. I really just thank you for sharing that, because I think it's great to hear different parts. And so what I've picked up, just to sort of summarize, is that if someone's considering a career in construction and they haven't kind of gone through what's deemed as a conventional path, either an ITO as an apprentice or through university or something like that, you can just start at an entry-level role and get a feel for it. And if you love it, then seek opportunities to grow inside that role. Be mentored. It was another thing you talked about, finding people to help you grow and looking for those opportunities. And then the final thing you talked about was really working hard at bringing your strengths, capability, and your uniqueness to the role, but delivering really well. And then it's just, that's the way we can speak to it, right? Rather than sort of banging the table or, aggressively going, we need to change. We're just you're bringing the change. That's what you're doing. You're bringing the change. And I love that about that. So any last tips for anybody listening? Anything you wish your younger self might have known before we sign off?
I would say ask any question. And I know people say this all the time, that no question is stupid, but honestly, I've asked some very stupid questions that have saved me multiple times. Like every time I think about when I say the answer of the question that I asked, it saved me a million times over. And I just think ask the stupid questions, because that's what grows you. You know, you don't know what you don't know, and you can't be what you can't see. So I think that's that's important.
So good. So good. Thank you so much for taking the time today. And I really hope that anyone listening is inspired and want to reach out either to myself or Maz. You can find us on LinkedIn. And we'd love to hear from anybody. So thanks from us. That's
Cool.
all.
Thank
Ka
you.
kite.
See you later.